You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
All right, it is time for Happy Hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox.
And we are at Ambassador Cigar. We are doing it again at Ambassador. It's one of our favorite spots to hang out and enjoy life. I tell you, there's no better place to be than with your friends.
Yes.
Out and about. And I got my friend here, Matt Fox.
Yeah, this is one of the places that we will come to because, one, Sean is one of the most generous guys you'll ever meet. He's really good at what he does. He knows his stuff really well. And, we come here and kind of grab his knowledge to understand what it is about cigars, all right? And then he'll throw in, you might want to try this as well as far as a whiskey or a bourbon or what have you. So he always has something good to say about it. So we love to come here because you guys are just so knowledgeable. Yeah. And you keep us, happy.
Very happy.
You got it.
Sean, thanks for having us out. And great event today. You got a special event happening, some special cigars and some special deals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got the Tatuaje Cigars cigar event coming on today from 1 o'clock until about 7 o'clock.
Nice.
And basically running deals on all Tatuaje products. We actually have the Karloff cigar, which is part of the Monster series.
Nice.
And there's going to be 10 lucky people who are going to be able to purchase that cigar.
Are those? Yeah, because that's a limited run, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So the Karloff, but the Tatuan is you usually have those in stock. The other ones?
Well, we usually have Tatuaje, but not the Karloffs.
Not the Karloffs.
No,
Yeah.
Karloffs is basically a one and done. So
yeah. So you pulled up for Matt and I, and Mike's with us as well.
Yep. Yeah.
And Mike's.
Hello, everybody.
So thank you, Mike, for
thanks for
sitting
sitting
down with us
down.
and take a little time because we want to find out about what we have in our hands because we got the 2012.
the Sumatra.
The Sumatra, and you said this is one of your favorites.
It is by far my favorite Tatuaje in the market.
Nice.
I have at least 2 to 3 boxes at home.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one that was dated like 2012, one dated 2015.
My goodness.
And then I got one from this past year.
Right. These are the 2012s here with us right now.
Correct.
These that's nice. It went out on me though. These are brilliant. Thank you, Michael. There you go. There it is. So
what
can you tell us about what we got in our hand here? A little bit more about it.
Go for it, Mike.
Go ahead. Dan.
Oh, I'm gonna let Mike.
The medium body, the Sumatra, you could consider it. We would say it's maybe a little. I call it a little more spicier.
Okay.
Than the broadleaf, and I think I like the broadleaf a little more. And my palate, it's a medium body smoke. It pairs well with you could do a port, you could do a rum, you could do a couple other bourbons. The problem is with the matchup, and I think it's a lot of that is kind of misconstrued that anybody can take any drink and match it up with a cigar. What you really got to do is pair it.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you have a cocktail of your choice, sometimes it will dissipate the taste of the cigar and you're not getting the true value. So all you're basically is blowing smoke. So you really got to pair up when the people in the liquor industry look at this, and who knows, like Sean here, to tell you to pair it up with a different drink. You got to make sure it doesn't overwhelm the cigar.
Right.
That is a very important factor. So anytime you pair up anything you want to smoke, make sure it doesn't overwhelm the cigar so you get the taste value that you're really looking for. So that's my opinion. A lot of people have to realize my favorite cigars are the ones in the morning and the ones at night. Because the first one and the last one. The reason I say that is because, we do a business. We're in a cigar business. We sell cigars. So all day you're running and you're smoking a cigar with a customer. You really can't concentrate on the smoke, right. So that first one in the morning with a good espresso, and it's usually a small stick, so for the morning, and then that one at night when you're relaxed in front of our hotel on a bench or at home on a deck,
right?
It's like that's the pleasure, that's the moments. I always say the cigar not only has to be a great cigar, but has to be a cigar that you can enjoy. And I always ask this question to people, and here's a question I'm asking you gentlemen and people out there to think about. I always say, what's the difference between a good cigar and a great cigar? A good cigar, you smoke it, it's a good cigar all the way through. Mm-hmm. I always say a great cigar shows a great maker like Tatuaje. It's complex. It's like a great book. You got a beginning, a middle, and an end. To do that time after time after time in these factories. And this is cigars made in my father's cigar company. And Pepin Garcia is a great maker, and you can't get that all the time. So there's nothing wrong with a good cigar, but there's always room for a great cigar, and these are great cigars. The other factor, too, is I always say this, and I'll give a quick story on this. When is a bad cigar a great cigar? Anybody know?
When you do with your friends?
Yes, it's who you're with. Unfortunately, my dad's no longer here, and he was the one that introduced us to cigars. And at the end of his life, he was in hospice, and we went there, my older brother, my son, and myself. We went there to see him, and he had them roll him outside in an open venue, and he loved cigars, and that's how we all started. I'm not going to say how old I was, but we got to smoke. When you could smoke, you could smoke. So we got to smoke cigars, and he sent the person out to get some cigars, and she brought back some machine-made cigars. And he lit it up. We were watching him. We were all smoking, laughing, because we knew this was not but he smoked it like that was the best cigar he's had on, because they weren't allowing him to smoke, but we were outside. And anyway, not much longer, he passed away. I'll never forget that cigar. That cigar will always be with me, even if it wasn't one the best cigars out there, but being with him at the end meant a lot. And that's what this is all about. It's about the brotherhood or sisterhood, or everybody getting together. When I see the same faces in these stores, I'm at the other third of the race and career-wise, so that means a lot to see that, and to see the new generation going out and buying cigars and smoking. They're carrying the torch, as I say. The history will not end. Am I saddened with the laws and the guidelines that this whole COVID thing has brought to us? And it's tough. It made it tougher for everybody, but everybody's got through it. God will it. And we get to enjoy a smoke here and there, and with your friends, and it means a lot. That's your downtime. That's where so when I see smokers smoke a cigar and they're smoking really quick, I tell them, slow down. When you're burning the tobacco, you're not getting the full flavor. You got to simmer it and enjoy it. It's the moment.
We were just talking about that, I think, in our last episode, because I as a previous smoker of cigarettes, I'd always find myself steamrolling. And then when I got into cigars, I found myself doing the same thing. And the gentleman on the last show that we had, he's like, you need to slow down, because it's getting bitter. If you smoke it too fast, it'll get too bitter, and you're not going to enjoy it as much. Yeah. So I took that to heart, and now I'm taking my time with this one, just so I can really understand the complexity of it.
Well, as time goes on, which I tell the new smokers, you will be able to differentiate the different tobaccos. Your palate will get more refined, and you'll find balance of what you like and don't like. What seems to be, I don't tell people like I'm the expert at all what is a great cigar. I just know what I like. It doesn't mean that's what you might like, or you might like, or you might like. But long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. And when people say, "What do you think?" I go, "Well, what do I think? Really, it doesn't matter. I'm a salesman. That's what I do. I'm not a maker. I don't pretend I'm not a maker. I don't pretend I'm not the great makers like the Pete Johnsons and all the ones that are out there that I do represent. That that I have the perfect palate, but I know what I like. Everybody has a different palate, and I respect that palate. And everybody's a different maker, and I respect what they make because that's their heart and soul. You never want to disrespect anybody and what they're doing out there. So when I'm out there, people will give me some cigars or competitors. I'll say for my palate, that's a very good cigar. If it isn't, I'll just say it's different because they will hit a palate of someone out there. So I can't be judgmental of who's making the greatest because I don't roll cigars. I couldn't roll a cigar to save your life, So end of the day, all I do is sell and what I believe in. I don't sell anything I don't believe in. So that's how my career has been. So, but in time, your palate will define what you like.
This is very nice. There's I don't want to say a flavor, but I'm getting more than just the smoke to this as it comes across my tongue. It's nice. It's nice. I'm trying to pinpoint what it is, but I'm digging this one.
You smoking the Sumatra, correct?
Yep.
So what do you say? That's your favorite. Why?
For me, it's my favorite because it's the most consistent burn, flavor, and aroma out of any cigar I've ever smoked. I've never had a bad cigar of that out of the hundreds I've smoked.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was actually the first Tatuaje I ever smoked. And it just, I usually drink bourbons or red wines, and it pairs perfect with those.
It's going really nice with my Guinness.
Yep.
It's working well with my Guinness. I'm a one-trick pony when it comes to in the beer family. It's 90% of the time it's going to be a Guinness for me.
Oh, yeah.
It's working well with my Guinness.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on a limb and say that this cigar has been your first cigar of the day and the last cigar of the day more often than not.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, like I said to people, when they're matching it up with a different cocktail, what they're matching it up, what I know is I always say, if it's your last cigar, try to get a little more, more strength to the cigar, especially if you're matching it up with a drink and you had a big meal. You want to go up. So if you're a mild smoker, go to medium. If you're a medium smoker, try to go to a little fuller so that it will hit your palate, because your palate is covered when you start eating and drinking. Right. You want to match it up with something that you're going to get the flavor, out of it. So.
Nice. Yep. And because we were talking about pairing it up, and Sean was like, "Hey, I got an idea."
Yeah.
Well, a new bourbon on your shelf. It's not a new bourbon, but it's a new bourbon here.
Correct. And plus, you guys were missing drinks, so I figured I'm like, it's around that time, and you need something to drink with a cigar.
We do.
Yeah.
And
HIRSCH.
So I found the HIRSCH Bourbon.
I was reading up on this a little bit, and it's a blended bourbon.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. So the percentage,
some interesting things happening inside this bourbon.
Yeah.
So it's 92 proof, 46 ABVs. They do 94% of it is 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. The other 6% of it is 60% corn, 36% rye, and then 4% malted barley.
And so part of it is like 5 years, 4 months, and then the second half
Correct.
of it is a little older.
6 years, 2 months.
6 years, 2 months.
Yeah.
Yep. And
so it's got some age to it. So
yeah, it's a newer. It's not really newer, but it's newer to us.
Right.
It was a limited release that they had. They came out about 2 months ago, I believe it was, and they're basically said, "Okay, I can get you a bottle if you want." I'm like, send us 3, just because the limited release stuff we do very well with, and we have a lot of bourbon drinkers that love the LEs. I mean, they go They don't care what it is. That they're gonna drink it and they're gonna love it. I mean, it could be hot tea in a bourbon bottle, and they'll love it.
So now, giving this a sniff, being the 71% corn and then 60-something% corn, it's not because it's got the age to it.
Correct.
There's a sweetness in the nose.
Yeah. So you get a little sweetness with the nose, but also a lemon, sort of a lemon zesty smell.
All right.
Then as soon as you try it, you're going to get almost that spice flavor is going to hit your palate, but then it's going to mellow out a little bit. And you're going to, because of the rye, you're going to get that sort of rye taste to it also.
I'm diving in.
I always like to talk about ethanol. Everyone has ethanol in their bourbon, right? But
Yep.
I don't get a huge amount of ethanol on the nose on this at all. So, and knowing that, I'm going to dive in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I got a question for you, Sean, on the bourbon end of it. What would you say? I'm like anything, like even cigars, you got limited edition. People want the limited edition,
Yeah.
So you take that out of the mix. So we got the basic bourbons out there. What is your top 3 sellers that you could say in your establishment?
The top 3 sellers, I got to look at the bar back here. So obviously you got your bullet bourbon,
And why?
It's basically like our house pour. Is pretty much what it is for our bourbons, because the price point is very good.
the drinkability as well, maybe?
Correct.
Or,
Yeah,
okay.
it's smoother. It probably might be the best bourbon to pair with in an old fashioned.
Okay.
I would say another one is the Woodford.
The reserve, yeah.
Yep,
I can see
Woodford
that.
Reserve.
I would imagine around Derby time, you kind of go through the Woodford quite a bit around Derby time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, doing the mint juleps.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. Then I would say after that, it's probably going to be Jefferson's.
Oh, okay.
The Jefferson's Reserve.
All right.
For just like not limited edition stuff. And
Yeah.
All right. Not the ocean, not the
Not,
Jefferson's
not
Ocean.
the ocean or the cab.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, even the Basil Hayden Dark Rye. I mean,
Which you
that's-
turned me on to
that's-
in a big way. That dark
I'm not
rye kicked my butt.
I'm not a rye drinker at all,
Yeah.
and I love that rye.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I had a choice, I could drink any rye for the rest, or any bourbon for the rest of my life. It would probably be that rye,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
but there's no way I can.
Now,
You can't limit it.
No.
I got another question. Is there a Michigan-based bourbon out there that you would recommend?
I actually like the Zeppelin. It's out of Traverse City. It's a little pricier than a normal bourbon, but it has almost that Irish whiskey type taste to it, but with a bourbon kick.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
and it has that little spicy notes in the middle. I mean, but it's just smooth. It's a smooth spice, not a. It's not going to burn. It's not going to burn in the back. Yeah.
And what Tatuajes would you pair up with that bourbon, that Zeppelin?
Right there.
Okay.
That's Sumatra.
The Zeppelin.
Okay.
If I didn't do the Sumatra, I'd probably do the Tatuaje Cohitas.
Okay. Okay.
That's another very good one.
Now that I've tasted the Hirsch, and I'm nosing it again, I smell that. I get that citrus, not lemon citrus, getting that in the nose. But in the taste, there's like this hint of a mint almost.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
yeah.
getting like a bit more.
Saying.
Because I was reading some of the tasting notes that are on. I'm looking at what am I looking at? PaceMagazine.com.
Okay.
And what their review was of the Hirsch itself. And they're saying you get a little green tart apple. So that's what kind of the sweetness is coming in.
Yeah.
At the same time, but I'm not getting all that sweet. I'm getting more sweet. I'm getting that vanilla. I'm getting that caramel feel out of it.
The bourbon, the typical bourbon vanilla caramel. Yep.
I am, but then there's that as it sits back, it's getting even more fruity.
Yep.
You know, so it kind of rests really nice on the back of your palate.
Yeah, it does.
And then you want to go back to the cigar, and that's where you're going to get your pairing from. It's not an instant hit. You got to smoke the cigar for a little bit, and then throw in that bourbon of choice.
Yep.
Right, and then you're going to get that pairing.
Yeah.
So it takes a second.
Okay, when I'm selling cigars, the first question I asked individually, you know, they haven't tried a product. What do you generally smoke? Mild, medium, and full.
Mm-hmm.
For a new bourbon, drinker like myself, what would you start off with? Say that you're going to recommend with those profiles.
Basically, I mean, I would first ask them like, what bourbons do they usually drink?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or what bourbons have they tried before? Try to figure out where their tastes are, because it's very similar to cigars. Because you got to figure out where their palate is. I mean,
what would be the description of a milder bourbon?
a milder bourbon is going to be probably like the Bullet,
Okay.
the Bullet, the orange label, the regular bourbon, not the rye. Then
Medium.
I would go more. It would probably be maybe like the Amador, even the Jeffersons, I would say. And then when you get more towards that fuller,
There's just so much back there, you know.
yeah, I know. I mean, like fuller. I mean, I'd almost go into the bourbon rise, because they're gonna.
Would you put like I was told, and I've tried it that way, is just putting one ice cube in it or a drop of water?
So
Yeah.
for me personally, I can't do the water. I usually do, like if it's a higher end bourbon, I'll do like 3 or 4 ice cubes or an ice ball. If it's like something a little lower end that I know I'm going to be I want to drink it for a while.
Right.
I'm just going to have them fill it up with ice. I mean,
Make it last
because
a bit longer.
but also it chills it too. Me personally at home, if I'm going to be drinking bourbon, I actually put the bourbon in the fridge, like that day, and then by the time I want to have that bourbon, the bourbon's already chilled, so I don't need to add any ice at all.
Right.
Because if the bourbon has a bite to it or a burn, that coldness actually eliminates
Change the complexion of the drink.
Correct.
Okay.
So, because I'm always a neat guy, I will always try something brand new that I've never had before. I always
Same
do
here.
it neat.
Yeah.
I'd rather try it and
Right.
see what its character
I
is
try
first.
it first,
Yeah.
like a sip of it,
Neat, absolutely.
but then I add the ice.
And you can experiment as to where the taste, because a couple drops of water will open up a bourbon almost immediately because of the chemicals that are inside there. And there's a word for it. I don't know. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But yes, as your palate develops, you're getting a lot of folks will start with your Elijah Craigs, and they'll start on a lighter bourbon or something that's more popular, but then they'll start diving into that Bullet. I did a shot of Bullet rye in Utah. And where I was supposed to be dry area, I wasn't in a dry area in Utah, but the first time I did a shot of it, I wish I hadn't, because it really changed my thought process as to the Bullet itself.
Yeah.
When I did the Bullet rye, it was a shot. It was not a small shot; it was a large shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I went back to the Bullet as well after the fact, and I've tried it again. And now I'm trying to understand it just that much more. And now pairing it with a cigar at one point in time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, this Hirsch, it being that it's blended, I can't tell that real big difference if it's that blended.
Yeah.
It's smooth. I think the blending, how they've blended it actually makes it's nice and smooth.
Correct.
There are a lot of flavors happening, but it's still it's still smooth.
That fruitiness is still kicking around back there.
Yep.
And then it just, as it continues to evolve, with this pairing, I'm barely into this dram that you have brought over. I'm excited for the next hour of my life, because this is an amazing pairing. I really enjoy it.
This isn't going to last an hour. This
No?
this pour is not going to last an hour.
Look, we just happen to have a full bottle right in front of us.
You should have brought the bottle. I'm like, what was he thinking? And he left us here by ourselves with the bottle.
We didn't touch it.
No.
I got in there.
You just don't know that I drew a line on that, so
Yeah.
it shows.
Etched it with your ring.
My next question is like cigars. Some cigars you can age, and they get better aging it. And some cigars you can age, and it doesn't turn out well at the end. When you age it, you lose the flavoring and the strength. On bourbon or other cocktails out there that they age, what do you feel with the aging of bourbon, like cigars? Because you smoked aged cigars, you've drank the aged bourbon, 10-year, 12-year. I've heard 16 years and 30. What do you get out of that on the bourbon end comparing to a cigar that has been aged?
It's a little similar to cigars because you actually, with the bourbon, you actually lose, like if it's something that's real, has a lot of burn to it. After the age, it actually, the burn isn't there as much. At least I've noticed.
Okay.
I mean, other people might say different. And
There's a few schools of thought on that, because once it's in the bottle, the aging's over. So if you have a bottle on your shelf for a year, 2 years, you haven't cracked it. It is what it is. It is what it was when it was barreled, and it'll be what it'll be when you drink it.
Yeah.
So that aging process, it's not like wine. It's gonna progress and change and develop.
Oh yeah.
So a bourbon's a bourbon once it hits the bottle, but as far as the time spent in the barrel. There's a few schools of thought, and people say, more than 10 years, and after that, you're actually maybe damaging it because it's absorbing so much of the wood and so much of the char that you almost damage it. Things over 10 years. Now, there are brilliant, beautiful, and Hirsch is an example. There was a 16-year on the Hirsch a couple of years ago. Those bottles are selling for $3,500. Now, the Hirsch goes around the $40, $45 mark. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
So the 16-year on the Hirsch is going for $3,500 bucks. It's like, I don't know. Matt and I were talking about what's the most expensive bottle you ever bought. I think I topped out at about $125.
Mine's $500.
I usually try to keep it down, under $100. It's because I'm married. And, we have a joint check account, and she knows my shenanigans.
I'm a firm believer. I know a lot of people, especially with the Tatuaje product, they savor it. They don't smoke it. They collect it. And I find that a lot with Tatuaje. And I always tell the individual, I go, you're saving it because tomorrow you can get hit by a truck. You never got to try it. I don't know myself. I don't really save product. It's either going to be good to smoke or not. When you smoke a Tatuaje, I don't think that you're not losing anything by smoking immediately, or if you want to age it. But at the end of the day, and again, with the bourbons, I see people collect them and all that. And I'm thinking in my head, well, hope that you live for 100 because, you don't smoke that cigar. You don't drink that drink. You're saving it for your children or children's children. I don't know, So, again, there's some cigars that if you wait too long, you're not going to. But with the Tatuaje, it's just a great smoke, balance. Anyone you pick up from the mildest blend to the fullest blend, you get that right off the bat, Pete Johnson, and he is an individual that spends the time. He can give him a cigar that he may take the bands off. He'll tell you exactly what it is. And that is something that a lot of makers don't understand. And, there's a lot of makers out there, but he is definitely that person that really is proud of every cigar that he makes and making it with my father, Pepin Garcia, that company. It's a combination of both, and you can't ask for better as a consumer.
Sure.
And we represent a lot of good brands, but this is one of the ones that we can honestly say that when you go out and sell it, you're very proud of selling this product.
Yep.
It's top notch, and I've been blessed after 30 years of doing this that I've had a lot of makers. So I can't, he's going to be known as, you know, in time as one of the great blenders of tobacco, and I could see that, you know, and you know, again, I'm at the other third of the race, and hearing this stuff to me excites me. So, you know, at the end of the day, you feel proud of the lines you represent, and I'm very proud of this line, and matching it up with the bourbons, more and more information I'm getting. You know, I enjoying now more bourbons than I ever did before, because I was never a big liquor person.
Yep.
You know, more of the ports and a lot of espressos and all that. But now, getting that into the mix, it's kind of like, hey, this is pretty good. You know, I can't complain. You know.
Right.
So, Michael, what's the story behind the Tatuajes and the Karloff expression that's out? Is he a horror movie fan? What?
Well, he started with the Monsters a while back, and it, again, you know, what an originator. I mean, to come out with these older, you know, Monster series that he came from the Boris to on, you know, you name it, that is, everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone is, I mean, this is the time period people wait to buy them. It's like a fan favorite, and to tie it into something like that, to me, you see a lot of limited editions, but I have to believe this is one of the top limited product that comes out, and he's very selective on where he places his product, which as a salesman is it's really a positive thing, because he makes sure that people that are selling it are fully a Tatuaje account, and I can't ask for better. I mean, you know, releasing it just for profit, that's not his end result, but he is getting the proper channels for people to buy it. And like I said, the series has grown from the beginning. I've been there to now, today. It's always a treat to always wait for the next monster coming up. You know, it's like an excitement, you know.
Monster at the end of the book.
You know, and you hear people, yeah, and people collect them. You know, some have them. Like I said, you know, it's funny. I laugh because I said, you know, you should smoke them, because you never know. You're not going to be around to do it. You know,
It's gonna get moldy on you, man. Take care of that.
You know, and you know, that's another thing, is the collectors are truly experts. Are trying to age their products and putting it away, and to me, that says something about the maker. You know, so I give tribute to the maker, because he is definitely cares about the consumer. You know, he wants the consumer to get that experience that he doesn't get all the time. So,
Gotcha.
I mean,
So
my
this
hat's
is
off
like
him.
an October thing.
Yeah, it's always in October, Halloween,
That's great.
tied
That's
into
nice.
Halloween.
I
You know,
love it.
yeah.
Love it.
So you know, and you know, it's something that's always, you know, people are looking for at the end of the year. It's kind of like a nice end result of the year, you know.
Yep.
So, but
Fall's a decided change, you know, and it's something to look forward to. Yeah,
exactly.
'Cause I always weep a little in the fall, because I teach high school and I got to go back to teaching.
Well, you know, that's a different subject in its matter,
Yeah.
exactly. You know. So, but anyway,
It's gorgeous.
Mike, you had said something earlier that kind of sparked my fancy a little bit. Espresso, coffee. You know, I'm wanting to get into pairing bourbons and coffee together. I'm sorry, cigars and coffee together. I'm looking to do that. Are you more of a coffee guy? Do you like doing a coffee with cigar? Or,
I love
espresso?
espresso. I love Turkish coffee.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Turkish coffee. I know it's a little different. The cortitos that the Cubans make with a lot of sugar in it, you know, that's another one that I love with, and I don't get that at home. Only time I really get to appreciate it, that's in Miami when I go down there and I buy as many as I can get my hands on, you know, and I'll drink as many as I can get my hands on. But those are the treats I feel with smoking a cigar.
Okay.
A regular cup of coffee like I'm doing today, it's good, but nothing like a good espresso.
Talk to me a little bit about Folgers Crystals.
No hablo.
No.
I don't know anything about much of that. Yeah. Sorry. I don't get out much. Only when I have to go to work. So yeah.
I love a good cup of coffee in the morning, because that's how I start my day typically. So, but I'm wanting to kind of dive into the pairings of a cigar and an espresso. Yeah, thanks, Sean. I'm kind of interested in doing that. So where would I as far as espresso or Turkish coffee? Is there a specific area or brand I should look at?
You know what? We grind our own beans at home. I realize that, I get more flavor out of that. I'm really big on that. And I'll try coffee from Do Re Mi, or a new coffee company coming out. And I love to do the grinding of the beans and then doing the espresso. And, each coffee maker is similar. I mean, you look at what's you're pairing: wines, coffee, bourbons. Coffee, though, is generally, like my morning or my night drink, espressos. Or, like I said, Turkish, something a little more body at the end of the night. I like that, or the beginning. Regular coffee, it's great, but, I usually put a little milk in it, so it kind of tames down the coffee. It's already not, but I look for strength and flavor. As you get older, you're losing your flavor profile because, you're just natural age. It's like that grandmother that used to come over and you have to give her a hug and she had 3 gallons of perfume on her and you're like, Dad, do I have to really hug grandma? So it's the same idealism. And so now as an individual, I'm looking for more flavor than strength.
Gotcha.
Well, and you talk about that, and you talked about the experience, and then grinding your own beans, and it's that whole process. And it's not like just filling the coffee pot.
Right.
You take the time, and you're pulling the beans out, and you're grinding them. You're grinding what you need for the day, and then it's all part of the process. And there's a different aroma when you're grinding them compared to just opening the can or the jug or whatever and filling. So it's all part of the process, and I think that's part of the enjoyment of it. You were talking about making old fashioned. So Sean mentioned making an old fashioned with bullet, and that, I love doing that at home. I like whipping up a cocktail, and I can just pour it over rocks and enjoy the hell out of it too. But some days I just I'm gonna get an orange out. I'm gonna cut a peel off of it.
That's the whole thing of it. It's that's right.
Like, my wife Colleen, she's like, let's grab a cocktail, and I'm like, all right. And I'm still in the kitchen because I'm like mix master, I'm doing the mix master thing. And she's like, come on already. I'm like, it takes you 20 minutes to find a movie on the TV. I'll be there.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll be there by the time you decide what movie we're going to. I've fallen asleep before we found the movie, let alone during the movie. So I take my time, and it's that whole experience, grinding it. Yeah. And I love that.
It's funny because the old school, I was raised in a different period, and red wine was always on the table. Espresso coffee was there at, in the Latin communities, café con leche, you get it, and cigars. I mean, if you could smoke, you were smoking, it was a different time. But what I found out as far as, grinding your own beans, I don't grind for the whole day. I only grind enough that I'm drinking that period. And then if I'm going to have an espresso at night, I will regrind the beans for that. I get them, and they might be all menthol, but I feel it's a more fresher taste. Yeah. You get more out of it by grinding that moment and then making the espresso. So that's up to each individual, but I feel that if you're going to grind your beans, get a good grinder, and you want to get, that full flavor that the maker, because someone is out there grinding beans to come out with a product. Again, it's their passion to sell to the consumers. So if they're going to go out of their way to do that, the makers rolling the cigars, I tell people, take care of your cigars, put your beans so that, that they're properly stored, and, your wines, if you're going to buy wine or whatever, that it's properly, put away, and enjoy what the maker is trying to give to you. And because, someone is out there doing this because they want you to have an experience. It's all about experience at the end of the day,
I want to dive into more of the coffee cigar brands. Tobacco and coffee beans are really kindred crops.
Oh, you're right.
Together. So, that's why I want to kind of dive into a little bit more in future episodes.
Yeah.
You're not a big coffee drinker yourself.
I'm a big coffee.
You're a big coffee drinker?
Oh,
then shit. What am I?
Yeah.
What are we waiting for?
I have no idea what we're waiting for.
No? Not a coffee guy, huh?
Nope.
Well, this is coming from a guy who wears a kilt, so let's,
Let's talk about Folgers crystals real quick. Then.
Where
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That just turned you off of it.
Yeah. If
You don't-
that's
Now you don't like
That's
animals?
expensive
Is that what you're telling me? Now you don't like animals too?
Yeah.
literally. Shitty coffee.
You know, it's funny. I saw in a coffee place, they had a map of the world of all coffee where it's made and produced and all that stuff grown. And guess what? A lot of those regions are the same region where tobacco's grown. Same countries.
Yeah.
You look at that. There's some similarity from that. And there you look at it, wow. So the way I understood it, a lot of the coffee has to be grown in the upper regions, and tobacco's grown in the valleys, in the lower regions. So I put that together, and and there's different climates for different products. So
Yeah.
I look at that. There's a reason for that. And like I said, I'm a big fan of trying different coffees, different bourbons, even my competitors I'll try. And if it's a good cigar to my palate, again, I'm no expert. I'm a salesman. I'm not anything more than what I am. So, I just enjoy what I enjoy, and always trying to experiment. Open your palate. That's the biggest thing when people buying cigars or coffee or anything. They get on this one, say, cigar or this one coffee or this one bourbon. I always tell them, you got to expand your palate. There's much more out there that you're missing.
Right.
So,
Michael, can I have you call my wife and explain to her? She's like, why did you buy another bourbon and bring it home? Well,
It said hi to me. That's why.
I need more. I mean, you have so many here already. I go, well, yeah, but that's not the point. Because they're all different.
I'm not saying anything because my wife might be listening to this because she says the same thing to me.
I'm
Why are you
saying-
buying this? Why are like,
I know she never listens, so I'm saying.
That's why you need a good variety.
Yes.
There you go.
You wake up in the morning, I just don't feel like it.
Right.
You got a lot. What else you have? You have Connecticut, Ecuadorian Connecticut.
Yeah.
The one that's a sweet.
Take your pick, A, B, or C. Yeah.
You need choices. I can't always have the same.
So Matt and I have a rating system for the bourbons when we decide to taste them and
Yes, we
what,
do.
what we like, and it's
Screw, Mary, kill.
screw, marry, kill.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Screw, Mary, kill.
so screw. Are you gonna get it out and about when you're around? Are you
Mess
gonna
around
marry
with
it? Are
it.
you gonna take it home? Or kill? It's dead to me. I'd marry this HIRSCH. I would take this one home. I would not mind having this on the bar, and the packaging is nice too. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
well, people buy with their eyes. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. If the
Yeah,
package is
you're not
right,
wrong.
they see on the shelf,
You're not
they say, oh, you know what? The packaging makes a big difference. But I'm glad you don't have a rating system on salesmen because I don't want to be in that one of those.
Oh no, Michael.
I got the face for radio. Exactly. You don't want any further than this. We don't want to scare your audience. So
Yeah, I'm screwing around with the HIRSCH right now, but I'm like Jamie. I would marry this and take it home.
I would.
And,
It would
and
be one to
savor it. Not
Nice.
save it, but savor it and share it with friends. Introduce it to them. Folks that are wanting to get into it. You're like, okay, you've had this. Now let's try this. So yeah, I would definitely marry and take this home.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Good.
As
So
with the cigar too. Absolutely, I would take it.
I need a couple of these for the
Now
humidor.
you know why I like it so much.
Yes. Oh,
Well,
my God.
gentlemen, I gotta say goodbye because I'm
Yes,
gonna go back and
absolutely.
do my job.
Oh,
But
my
you know what?
goodness,
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you
us.
for. I really don't do a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm kind of low key, but
Yeah.
thank you for inviting me to do this. And yeah, it's for the makers to be out here. I am not that. But I show my face. I do my best. I try to recommend the best from the consumer where their profile is, and hope they enjoy the cigars because I always guarantee it. I stand by my product.
Yeah.
You don't like it, bring it back. I'll buy it back. I will not sell something I don't believe in. And exactly. Yeah.
But that's why you've had it. That's why your career has been successful, is because you are that way. You always cater to your clientele. You take care of them. You listen to them. So thank you for your knowledge and
Oh,
sharing
thank
with
you.
us today.
Thank you,
honestly.
gentlemen, for this
That's
day.
it.
Appreciate it.
That's
Thank
a
you.
Great point.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
Salute.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Cheers.
this.
Salute. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.